good good evening. Welcome to this evening's financial series. Right. So I want to add the guests. If you are watching, please do well to share. Do the guests. For this evening. So it's presently sending a link and all. So if this is your first time, please subscribe. Please. So I'm adding the guest speaker. Please hold on. It's a speaker that is trying to connect. So please just give me like 2 minutes. So I'll add him up. Yeah, I'm still here with us. Just hold on, please. Yeah, the speaker will join. Is actually making requests to join. I don't know. YouTube is um Yeah, but some things came up. So please, if you can hear me, give a thumbs up if you can. Give a thumbs up if you can hear me. If you can hear me, give a thumbs up if you can hear me. Give a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So please let's do well to share. Um, let's share the let's share the link from our end. Yeah, let's share the link from our end. So let's share the link. Thank you so much for your patience. And thank you. Um, thank you. So very quickly, yeah. So very quickly, um, the purpose of our made when it comes to biz finances and all made this at least I think made this 1 million at the age of 19 if I'm not wrong. Yeah, and also have a very strong revenue, business revenue, in the shipping and heavy equipment. So it's very important that we have questions. We also learn from tonight's webinar. So please let me to just celebrate Mr. Emeka. I'm going to give I'm going to give him the floor now to to speak to us. Yeah, so let's do well to share. So, Mr. Emeka, over to you, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening, sir.
Okay, okay. Yeah, over to you. Let's see you. Let's see you. So we let's see
Just a
you.
moment. Just a moment. Just a moment.
Okay.
Okay. Hi guys. I don't know how I look in this. Sorry. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? You can hear me, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it sounding? Is it from my end? Like it's not loud enough.
Ah, I I'm loud. Oh. How about now? Any better?
Okay, I think some people said they can hear you. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Just let me know when I can start. Is that fine? Is it clear now? Is it better now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Okay. Hi everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching from. And again, I want to use this privilege to say a big to wish my brother, first of all, a happy birthday. For some of you that don't know, it's his birthday today. So, and can you hear me? I doubt. Can you hear me at all? You're frozen. Oh. I need to know if anyone can hear me. Can you hear me? Is it better now? Okay. So I'm just gonna get straight to it. Like I said, I want to use this medium to thank my brother, and most importantly, it's his birthday today. So I'm just gonna wish him a happy birthday. I'm gonna wish him a happy birthday by singing to him, "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you." For he is a jolly good fellow. He is a jolly good fellow. Yes, and he is a jolly good fellow. And so says all of us. So thank you so much. Thank you for being amazing. And again, I count this a very huge privilege to do this. So again, thank you, sir. And I wish you all the best of life in good health and in sound mind. And of course, that this work prospers in your hand. So I'm just going to get straight to it. Talking about building a real business. I mean, there are a number of things that can be said about building a business. However, when we check things, it's important that we have the understanding of things. There's a particular speaker that I love so much because of his peculiarity. His name is Ugochukwu Umeogu, and one of the things that he does that thrills me very much is how that he's so big on knowledge finding. And I will tell you, primarily for any business that you're getting into, you know, knowledge is key. And mind you, my name is Uwaimika, as you have it in the flyer, head of operations for Leno Heavy Equipment. And I've been in this company for the last 8 years. And so very basic. I can tell you how the in and out of the business has been, the growth stages and all of that, which we will get into shortly. But I'm going to start by saying that what determines your results are how well you define things, which means that if you have a very poor definition about a matter, it's going to show in the result that you get, which means myself and you can be in the same business, same line, doing the same thing. In fact, our shops are next to each other, or best say, our offices are next to each other. But guess what? What would determine and shape our results are the definition of what we have towards the business. So, which means that if I have a poor definition towards the business, trust me, it's going to result into being, as per my definitions. So, which means that we have to be very big on our definitions. We have to be very peculiar about what we define, our words as. It's very, very important. So, let me give you a very good history of myself. I am into the shipping industry, and I must tell you, I did not read shipping in school. And not just that I didn't read shipping in school, I don't have anybody in my family line that has anything affiliated to shipping. So what does that mean? It means that I'm in an entirely new space that I don't even have close mentors. So that alone can be a bit of an issue because getting into that space and doing something phenomenal would require a lot of things. So what do I have to go after? I have to go after knowledge. There is this popular phrase, and however it's in the scriptures, that says, "For my people perish for lack of knowledge." And that's the same thing that you would see. People are actually, you know failing in business for lack of knowledge. This does not mean that there are times that you may do everything right and you still get the wrong result. Yes, there are times like that, and that's because you don't have a particular knowledge of the whole writings that you've done. You can do 99 writings. If one of it is wrong, trust me, the outcome is going to become wrong. Do you understand? So that's it. All the positive, if you multiply it with one negative, you get negative. So that's something that we must have an understanding of. So speaking of business, when I say I am building a business, I am running a business. One of the ways I love to explain it is that when you hear the word business, it shows activities. So a business cannot be void of activities. You see, a business is being busy. But however, you can be busy doing the very wrong things. A business cannot be idle. Yes, a business can be busy studying the market. A business can be busy, making research, doing a lot of things on the ground just to get it right. Don't forget what I made reference to. I made reference from the very first word, which was, definitions. How well you define what you're going into, what you have interest of matters a great deal. Even here in the office, one of the things I particularly tell the team is if you have a very poor definition about any word and you just think, oh, I'm just explaining to you, I believe you should understand it. No, it's not just about me, it's about what you even understand about it. I don't know if this has ever happened to you that in your present day, there are some things that you're going through, not necessarily bad events. It may be maybe you're trying to solve something or you're trying to understand something. And those primary explanations, those definitions that you were given in primary school were the things that helped you to understand them. So you know what that points to you? It points immediately to something that if you had a very faulty definition since primary school, it is going to reflect now. And if you have a very strong, definition since primary school, the same is going to reflect now. I remembered when I was in, I think, primary three or primary four, we were called out to define what social studies was, and everybody was explaining, and I did mine. And my head of school called me to our room, to our office room, and she mentioned and said, I heard about the definition you gave. That will be the new definition adopted by the school. And that was it. It was adopted. And trust me, I sincerely cannot remember what the definition was. But that must have been very sound enough for the head of school rather, to adopt that and say, okay, to the rest of the primary school students, coming after my set, they will have to go ahead, with that definition. Mind you, those were just words. I could have just said, "Oh, my teacher will understand." I could have just said, "Oh, my teachers, my schoolmates, which is my fellow pupils as well, will understand." But because of my intentionality to, defining it not necessarily to sound spectacular, but defining it quite different from how the others, defined it, only reflected something. What did it reflect? It reflected my understanding of that particular subject. I love one word Alhaji Aliko Dangote will always say. He said, don't ever go into a business that you don't understand in and out. So, which means that as business is a sort of activity that which can be powered or pioneered by a person and further scaled to require a team and grows larger into becoming, an establishment, further into a conglomerate like that and like that. There may be a business and not necessarily be a company. You understand? So it is when the business grows well enough, then there is a need of a company. What is the company? A group of people coming together, saddled with the responsibility of achieving a particular goal. That's why you can see companies that are non-profit organizations. So not all businesses are expected to bring in profit. Take note of that. Not all businesses, however, are expected to also, be free of charge to push charity. Let me give you a very funny example. There was a recent IPO, and we had our first world trillionaire announced today. Right. How many of us use SpaceX service? How many of us? I can't literally say, oh, this is that SpaceX service point blank that I have in my house. That I can say, okay, this is the service of SpaceX that I'm using. Unlike the telecommunications where I can easily point at something. Unlike my mobile phone, Samsung, I can easily point that that's my device. My laptop, I can easily point to things. But guess what? The IPO, which is the initial public offering of that same business, or best, yes, that same business has what has made one single man, not just him alone, and several other many others, scale higher. But take note of something. It was first an idea, became a business, which means involving activities, then grew to becoming a company. So I usually say it this way. There are times people walk up to me, oh, can I start a business without capital? I don't like to say yes. Yes, I sincerely don't like to say yes, because the moment when I tell you that yes, you can start a business without capital, it immediately gives, especially for this side of the world, it immediately sends a relaxing orientation to your head. Oh, I don't need much to start. See, you need more than much to start because anybody can have that same idea that you have. You need more than much to start because the moment when you begin work on that idea, it has become a business. But mind you, you can have a very awesome idea and you don't know how to go about it. It is very okay. You are not cursed, you don't have a problem, there's nothing wrong with you, which is why there are places and opportunities where you can go and serve as an employee. There are places where you can go and serve as an apprentice just to understand what you're about going into. Because you know the funniest thing about ideas, only the beautiful and the positive side are always shown to you. Oh, you imagine, compound interest. I take this money, put it into it. Imagine us getting 1,000 customers. Bill Gates did one ratio one time that I really love. He said, if you want to reach 10 people, reach out to, if you want to get 10 people answer, you want to get 10 responses, reach out to 1,000 people. So if you are wanting your customers, to be on the scale of hundreds, then be rest assured that you have to deal with, people like in their tens of thousands. So if you subtract 100 people from 10,000, which means that you must have reached out to 9,900 people, which in turn means you must have had 9,900 rejections as well. So in the process when you are serving as an employee, in the process when you are serving as an apprentice, you know what that is doing to you? You are seeing it. There are days that oh, Oga did not make sales today. So which means that in that your idea, there are times that you will not make sales and there is no problem. It is not the political party. Yes, they may influence it. Yes, but it is just going to be like that. Do you understand? When you're serving as an employee, you can also see, okay, this was how he did it. So which means that if I put in much effort well enough, I can actually get this same result. And one thing that apprenticeship or employment does is you get to learn it firsthand. Yes, I'll tell you for free, firsthand. I know there's this a lot of saga about 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5. Don't do 9 to 5. Don't do this. Yes, awesome. It's your choice. But I'll tell you, Carl Toriola of MTN is a rich person. He takes, if not over 300 million per month. The newly appointed CEO of Seplat goes home with over 400 million per month. The CEO for Flour Mills of Nigeria goes home with over 250 million per month. These are exclusive of other things and opportunities that can come to that role. But do you know why they can be that valuable to be get paid that much? They have learned the business, which means they have learned the activity required to pushing the company forward. They have learned it so well that they understood and they understand how to do the next profitable actions. Gather the right set of team, give them the necessary trainings, give them the necessary orientations, and the rest is results. But mind you, I said something about definitions, which means that in the process, when they are giving them those training and orientation, sets and series of words were said to them. So if the wrong set of words were said to them, they will have the wrong set of outcomes. They will have the wrong set of rewards. They will have the wrong set of results as well. So business, as you have it, should first in your mind be a series of activities. Yes, I can go into any space. I say I want to start selling watches. That's an idea. The moment when I engage in advertising the sales or preaching the importance of this, I have started a business. That's an activity. Does not necessarily mean I own a company yet. I need us to be clear on that. Does not necessarily mean I own a company yet. Does not even mean I have started a company. Because to this, a company is not one man. A company cannot be one man. There is no English word. There is no English definition towards a company that narrates it to be one man. No, 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 no. It can be pioneered, fronted, led by one person. But trust me, it has a group of people. Do you understand? So companies run businesses. Businesses come together to form a company, or people come together in the name of a business to form a company. So you must first of all understand the difference between these two. And trust me, when this happens, The rest is history. You have just started on that journey. Have you not also noticed that next to you, there's a provision woman, or next to your house or your street, there's a provision woman that sells things. And she's not necessarily a company, but that's a business. That's an activity going on there. So I would say this, that in one of the very key things, which I'm going to make a lot of emphasis to in today, is understanding wherever, whatever you want to do. And take note, you mustn't necessarily say you have to wait all day till you fully understand it. Yes, if you cannot take that risk, then I bet you just have to go learn it, serve under somebody, learn how it is done, then you grow into commenting on that same path. Those same activities that you have learned it, which I refer to as the busyness, right? I used to say it this way: busy, busy hyphen ness, busyness. Do you understand? So a business can be actively doing the wrong things. However, a business can be actively doing the right things. These things are very important for us to take note of. So, a business, first of all, you must know how to separate the definition of a business and a company. A company has to be a team. They're going to come in because you have a vision. They're going to come in because you have a mission. They're going to come in because you have, something worth chasing after, something worth doing. So, in managing and running a real business, like it is called, I want you to again put emphasis on the word real, which means that it's not just figurative, it's not just ideological, it's just there in my head. It is actually physical, substantial. And it does not just, it's not tied to just having a physical office. Oh. You can have a physical office and you're not running a real business. Again, the word real doesn't just lead to, oh, they are fake, they are scammers. No. When I mean real, like serious business. Yeah, serious business. Haven't you seen smaller teams that are executing large and bigger stuff? So there must be something pushing and pioneering that. Of course, it comes all the way from the leader. And however, there are times that you can have the idea, you don't know how to execute it. And you have a friend that you know knows how to execute it. Partnership comes in. You test it. Let's do this thing. I have this idea. Let's do it together. The first thing first is, okay, we're coming together to first see how this activity is going to go about, which is the business. We see the strength so much, then we grow into becoming a company. One thing I like about myself is um I'm very much procedural in the sense that I like to like take things like a bit over the. There are times I also go in as a rush. You understand? There's this quote I used to say way back in 2019. I said, "We're not rushing, but we're moving with speed." So, which means that in the rush, you don't care what's on the way. You just want to push it off. You don't care about whether you're crashing into something. But with speed, is you are super clear. You know that what you are not having any obstacles on your way. You're just there on the gas pedal and you're just driving as fast, pushing as fast as you can. But only one thing can help you know whether you're pushing, whether you're clear or not. It's the knowledge behind what you want to do. So the first thing first is, if I want to go into technologies, for instance, I want to go into industrial technologies, not just soft applications, industrial technologies. And I'm like, okay, I know these things would involve manpower, machineries. So what do I need to direct my research on? How to learn what the possible problems are going to be first. Forget about the money. If the money is your motivation, I plan to say this in this call. If money is your motivation towards starting the business, guess what? You are going to make that money. Yes. Yeah, you're expecting something else. If money was your motivation towards starting that business, you are going to make that money on several bases. You're going to make that money, but the sad part is that when the money is not there, that is all that is going to fuel you up. Yes, which means that in times when the business or the company will be experiencing some failures, you will not be strong enough to chase them. You will not be strong enough to see them as a place of learning. You will not be strong enough to say, okay, or admit that you're the one doing something wrong, because all your motivation towards it is money, money, money. Money is not to be chased after. I have heard it a lot of times, and recently is it just making sense to me. You don't chase after money. money comes after you on the basis and premise of a number of things, the value that you're exchanging. Let me give you a very simple example. If myself, I apply to a company as a clerk, what do you think is going to be said as my offer? They will throw me an offer, maybe 20K, 10,000 naira, not dollars. So you don't overthink it. Maybe 20,000 naira is thrown to me. Good. My same self, if I apply to a company as an accountant, obviously the pay is going to change, Abby. Very good. If my same self now apply as head of operations, what does that mean again? It is going to be evaluated and rechecked. If I also now apply as a general manager, what would happen? It will again be what? Reevaluated, and a value or an offer will be sent on that basis, which means that the offer or the amount that we receive from any service that we render is completely premised on the value that we are exchanging. And this value would only be rated and regarded on the basis of the knowledge that we have. Very simple. Which means that if I have a very poor knowledge about the value I'm about to exchange, trust me, I'm telling you for free, trust me, what I will get as an exchange, which is money, wages, salary, commission, any word you want to call it, will be very menial or will be very different from a space wherein I have put in and I have the same knowledge. I often say this, or I hear this one time, wherein you would see employee or teammates complain, oh, in that company, they don't pay us well. Bro, if you're knowledgeable well enough and the company does not appreciate it, two things are going to happen when you say you want to decline. It's either they are scared or they don't even mind you going. Yes, if you truly know your onions, right? You truly know what you're doing, and they are not scared. You understand? It's two ways. They may either see your importance when you're immediately gone out of the immediately gone out of the company, or you know when they will see your importance, you know, the day where you tell them, look, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this for the company, and sometimes you wouldn't blame them. They're humans. They may not see from that angle. You understand? And immediately they tell you, okay, we would have to reevaluate based off what you're doing, based off the knowledge and all of these things that you're giving to the company, would send you a new offer. So I said that to say this. So whether you're doing business or you're doing 9 to 5, what will come as the proceed, which is in quotes money, will be 100% premised on the value that you exchange. And that value cannot be quantified well enough except we look into the depth of knowledge that you have about that thing you're about to render. And that's the same thing too in business. In fact, I tell people that employment has more security than business. Because if you stay in employment well enough, except that you're not doing the right thing, you can, if you're in employment well enough, employment is expected to do you two things. Number one, learn the activity. Number two, and set you ready to be able to run those activities that you have learned. So if employment now comes up as a cage for you, as an imprisonment for you, it means that you have completely had a very wrong ideology about why you should be in that company. In fact, I can say that it's either you are a zombie in that company or the company is a zombie to you. You understand? Because any company that you are in, you're expected to learn what it is that the company is about. Yes. I used to say something, and I often say it in the business. One of the things that Large Aliko Dangote would take pride in is that if you wake up today and you meet their top 10 executives, they are going to explain the business, all of their business rules for you in and out. What does that tell you? Which means that if any of them say that we want to start and set up our company today, running these businesses, they can conveniently do it. Why? Because they have the knowledge in and out. So that knowledge that those 10 people have in and out, when they face challenges, it is not far-fetched for them to bring out solutions. They just tax their mind, come together, reassemble, have a deep thought. Immediately there's a solution out. Why? Because they have a depth understanding of what they're going into. And however, they're 9 to 5s. In fact, let me also tell you, in the real business, there is no 9 to 5. In the real business, it's 9 to 9 a.m. In the real business, it is 24 hours. There's no break, there's no holiday. There's no break, there's no holiday. If you meet the people that are in the top suits, top C leadership, not even top C, presently now, head of operations, head of positions, as you mind them, every week, every day, day in, day out, except that they just have less activities in the office. You would always see them, they have a number of tasks that has been slated even for their Saturdays and their Sundays, even though they're at home. Do you understand? So, in running a real business, the most important thing that makes it real is the knowledge, the understanding of the knowledge behind that business. Because, as I said it, the business there is on the basis of activities. That's why you see when a company is being registered, they will ask you, what are the objectives of this company? What is the nature of this business? Which means that what are the activities this company is expected to run? When you're registering a business, yes, they will tell you what are the objectives of this business, what is the nature of this company, which means that we want you to list out to us the activities we're expecting this business or this company to carry out the moment when we incorporate it. So I've always said it that you can be in business and you are doing just the entire wrong thing. But mind you, nobody will judge you for that because the word business means you are busy, an act of being busy. So you can be busy entirely doing the wrong things. You can be busy entirely doing what is even unsought or solicited for. So one thing that you must hold very key, very dear, is that business is a set of activities. And those activities are premised on knowledge. Now, when it now grows from, you know, being just a one-man idea, a two-man idea, a three-man idea, there is no how a business will grow well and it will not require a team. In fact, that person that you first shared your idea to, that already is a team player. The moment when it has grown from just your idea to another requiring another man's effort, it has now become a company. Yes. The moment when you have now required another man's effort, it has now become a company. And guess what? From that day, you have started paying salaries. Just that the partner may be doing it free of charge. Yes. So take note of this as well, which I also would. I'm learning it. Like I said, I'm also learning these things because in business, you may want to confuse the pay that you're paid and want to relate it to salaries. My dear, if you are in business, if you make $1, which is maybe 1,320 naira, as the margin on anything that you have sold or any service that you have required, or that you have rendered, sorry, and you assume that is your pay, then there is no real business. Because in the real context would be that whosoever that must have assisted you, helped you, supported you in the process of achieving what you were earning, what you were paid that amount for, they are due for some pay. So let's say you had an idea, hmm, and the person who rolled out the graphics design did it for you for free. Maybe he's even your brother, funny enough. Like some of us, our first design was hosted by our brothers. You understand? Our first, what's it called? A web internet was hosted by my brother. So you just so you know. Okay, so if you now fall in that category and think, oh, this first money that I made is all mine, trust me, you have just been in the seat because that free of charge service that you just got, he can come back and quote it to you and say, oh, or I'm supposed to be paid 50,000 naira for this. I'm supposed to be this. I'm supposed to be that. Which means that if you want to really grow a real time business, you mustn't think one man. If you want to grow a real time business, you mustn't think for any instance that it is just you and you and you alone. You have a team. You have a number of people that have supported that vision. You have a number of people that have supported that idea, even if they didn't ask you for a penny for it. So there is just no way that you will just assume that all of that cash is all yours. You have a team, which is why I also tell people that no matter the margin that you have made off any service that you have rendered, it is not again your profit. It is only a margin showing the difference. Because if you are faithful enough, you're expected to pay what we call income tax, which means a percentage of that goes back to the government. If you are faithful enough, whatever gadgets, tools, or anything that you used in achieving that, you are expected to again invest back into them. So if you use your laptop now, how long, when was the last time you took your laptop for, upgrade? When was the last time you took your laptops or your devices for maintenance, for updates, all of these things? So if that alone will come again at a cost, you can see now that that supposed margin that you're comparing to another man's salary, by the time when you are done doing all of the whole cutout, what will come to you as a profit would almost be the same as another man's salary. So in building a real business, if all your focus is just about the money, like I said, you will make it, but you will make that money. But you know the sad part that you just may never be privileged, to scale that business beyond that, except that you have good advisors, good people around you that are not just concentrated on the money, 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 and they are so intentional to seeing you grow. So in your understanding or in your quest for growing a big business, a real business, the first thing first is consume a lot of knowledge. Now, don't just consume to just say, oh, I know it. No, 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 no. That would be very dumb of you. You should consume knowledge to act it, to do it. Everybody know a number of things. Have you not ever wondered the booksellers on the roads hawking the books? One told me your financial freedom is in there, and I'm wondering why aren't you reading it? Some can even tell you the table of contents of the books, but they're only just ready for reading's sake. They didn't see a need to practicalize what they read. They didn't see a need to act it out. So a business, like I've said it, and I've called it the act of being busy. You can be busy making research rather than busy wasting time, rather than busy wasting money. You can be busy reinvesting back into the company rather than busy doing what is unsolicited for. Whatsoever that wouldn't add back into the company, it is not worth the attention of the company. Whatever that would not add back into the business is not worth the attention of the business. Don't do it because others are doing it. You have to define. Even if you're going to copycat, don't be like, a joke that I once saw one time, way back many years. The guy was copying the right answers. He was copying the right answer sheet, but however, for the wrong questions. Do you understand? In the exam sheet, it was to answer number one, two, four, and five. And guess what? He just started from number two, three, four, and six. So, which means that those are the correct answers. But because he wasn't even careful enough to check the numbers, the numbering of the answers. So, which means that if you want to copy, you must do it even the right way. You must have an understanding, an idea, a knowledge to why. Okay, why is he doing this? Why do you think he's doing this? What should be the reasons behind it? Then you can now copy and paste. Because every idea that you're going to carry out, any knowledge that you're going to carry out, firstly, somebody must have done it. Any knowledge that you want to read about that business, somebody has put it out there. Somebody has done it. That's why you're going there to sap from that same knowledge, to take from that experience, and to replicate the same. So you cannot run a business in any way without any form of knowledge. It's impossible. So your first quest, your major quest into running a business is gaining knowledge. Like exhaust yourself with knowledge. Elon Musk said something which I held it very strong since I heard it. He says, think until your brain hurts. Bishop Oyedepo would say something that his hobbies, I love to read and think. And guess what? I think it was a one book that I read one time, maybe 2021. It says that there's in the world there's a free flow of energy a free flow of energy of thoughts. Do you understand? So which means that thoughts are flying everywhere. Only if you're ready to pick up that frequency. And in picking up that frequency would mean that I have to think. So when those ideas come, they're not just rushed to just share them. It's good to share them. But however, what are you doing in form of research? It's not just running to the internet and registering a corporation so that somebody else doesn't do it. So what? Someone is going to do it, beat you up again, do it again, beat you up on it. So it's not just about first to incorporate it. It's not a trademark. Do you understand it? So in running a business, things that you must prioritize remains knowledge of that business, the knowledge behind that business. Read as much as you can. In fact, when you read well enough, you create services that other people in that line of businesses has never thought of creating. Why? Because you have consumed yourself well into the knowledge. You can see some companies are not solving problems, and that's because they have not read well enough. Because if you read well enough, you would see the problems are glaring to the face. They can't be avoided. Okay, so just to um, put a wrap on this, I'm also going to say this and make it very emphatically. You can spend time reading the wrong thing about the business. Again, intentionality about the business, about the activity you're about to embark into matters a great deal. So, which means that I will gather all facts, intentional facts. I can read a ton of things, directionless. But however, in my first 2, 3 days of reading in a very directionless manner, I should be able to pick out very intentionally the directions that I want to focus in that line of business. So if you're there thinking, oh, I want to start a business, how do I go about it? How do I run it? How do I manage it? The first thing first is knowledge. Because when you seek knowledge well enough, you will know how to ask questions. When you seek knowledge well enough, you will know the kind of mentors that you need. When you seek knowledge well enough, you will know the kind of research that you will undergo. Okay, so it lies in your hands. You want to run that business, you have that beautiful idea, very amazing idea. The first thing first is not just the incorporation, is to understand and to read towards that business. Yes, some people may start it earlier than you, or you may start it earlier than them. Doesn't guarantee your success. Doesn't guarantee it in becoming or surviving the whole stress of being a real business, because it comes with a lot. Running a real business comes with a lot. So I'm going to make it very basic from the very foundational point before I even go into team building, a team expectations and all of it. Because, like I said, it is first a business with you. The moment when you have one or two other parties together with you, it is growing to become a company. And I said something earlier, for the fact that they are not necessarily paid or it is a service rendered for free. Any proceed, any margin that you have from any service that you have all rendered together or that you fronted or you pioneered and rendered, don't assume that to be your profit. It is a margin. If you're honest enough, you pay the government the due taxes, you pay your team, the people that has assisted you. When you're done with all of that, even investing back into the tools, back into the gadgets, that did this, you're back in it. I'll tell you for free. When I commenced, when I started in the shipping space, there were times that it was for like 3 whole years. We didn't make proceeds, no profit, no nothing. And literally almost every month, I was buying data airtime for like 20K. I'm talking way back 2018, buying airtime almost every month of ranging up to 10K, 20,000 naira, and like that. You mean me, where was I getting money from? It's my brother. I used to run a laundry service for him then, and I'll gather this money, and the whole attention was just I was just going to pour it back, pour it back, pour it back. And most of those times, I was making most of it in research. And in research, part of the things I've learned, I would take cold calls, I would practice all of those things. And you can see it took me 3 years. To first even make the first proceed from that line of action. I don't want to just say line of business, and from that line of action, into what it is today. So, which means that if money, like I told you, is the motivation, I think 3 years is too much for one to have given up. Except that I have seen one knowledge, one information that keeps me being curious of the next, keeps me being curious of the next. And that's why till tomorrow, if you wake me up from the sleep, I'm going to explain this whole thing to you, A to Z, without blinking, without stopping. The team knows. And that's one thing that we thrive and boast of here in the company. We love, to be very precise with our words. We love to be very accurate, in the knowledge that we dish out in the name of this business. So I think this is why I'll call it a wrap. Again, I want to thank the hosts for this very interesting time. I'm honored. I'm very honored to do this. And speaking of your journey into starting a business, like I said, go for the knowledge. I would like to take your questions. I may get them offline, I may get it online in any case how it goes, but go for the knowledge. Go read and read and read again. Should I tell you, it is the easiest time now to read about anything. You have more than enough tools. You have search engines, you have the AI, you have more than enough, that can get you all the knowledge that you want. And you guess what? There's one very resourceful material for me as a person. It is the YouTube. On the YouTube, I don't think there's any knowledge about business that I have. Most of it, my huge source is YouTube. Apart from the private research that I do as a person, but YouTube, I go there because I feel like it's a dump site with a lot of treasures. You go there, you see mentors speaking, you see real-time business people speaking, you also see the noisemakers as well speaking, right? And but if you are in the business well enough and you have the firm knowledge, you know you would know how to separate between the noise and the real deal. Okay. And I think this is where I call it a wrap for today. Once again, thank you so much, and I'm honored to do this. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So before you go, I would like us to maybe ask one or two questions. So just use the comment section. I believe we're still watching. So use the comment section. If you have any question, please drop them quickly. Drop them quickly, right? If you have any question in regards to business and finances, just drop it quickly. Okay. While maybe someone is dropping a question, let me ask. Let me personally ask you a question. Um, Personally, I know you too well, right? I know where I'm leading a number of young persons, and that's part of why we are doing this, right? And God has given us this vision to spread, right, to impact more people. So that's why we are making use of this platform to see how we can reach more people, impact more people. Now, what do you tell a young person, let's say 18 year old, the moment you start becoming, I believe you can hear me clearly, right? Okay. The moment the moment you clock 18, entering 20, you begin to have this thought process of what exactly do I want to do with my life, right? In fact, there are many people in their 20s that have still not figured out what they will do with their life, right? They've still not figured out what they will do with their life, how to run a business. And I feel, I tell the younger people I lead, I tell everyone I lead that it's best you start early in anything you do, because it's if you want to fail, you fail early. At least you make the errors early and all like that. So at least where you can learn. Failure doesn't mean failure is not a verdict. Failure is just data to show you that something is not working, right? So learn what was the loopholes, correct, and all like that. So what will you tell someone, let's say 18, 19? If I know pretty well you made your first 1 million, you were staying with me, so I know your first 1 million when we were 19, yeah, 19. That was through the laundry business, right? Yeah, today now we see lot of young people now, they think the way forward is to engage in what's it called? Defrauding people, right? That's what they think, defrauding people and all like that. So, what will you tell? How will Let me put it this way: how will a young person know the right business to do, or what will you tell a young person starting out? It's like, I need money, I need to make money, right? And I don't want to do something. I don't want to defraud people. I don't want to go into the trend of what's happening in Nigeria and all. So, but I need money. So what do I do? Yeah.
Okay, so I think one of the ways I'm going to answer that, and I'll be very blunt, is like I said, I made a statement, and I said if going into business is for the sake of money, trust me, you're going to make that money. It just depends on what if it just depends on what it falls, but directing it on from the angle of starting very early, like you've rightly said, starting early is an advantage. Any day, any time, you get to fail when you even have less risk. I would say this: the older you get, the more expensive life becomes. So let me give you an instance. If you are not married, you're single, you can take a number of risks that all the risks tend to affect you and you alone. The moment when you get married, you have to start thinking of your wife. There are a number of times that you can't just say you want to just travel and not care if anybody's checking up on you. Bro, you have a wife at home. You understand? And if you now grow again to have a child, there are a number of risks as well you cannot take, because you are considering your children. So starting up early is very important. But I would also say this: the moment when you start, you may not have it all figured out. It can be very scrappy, it can be very directionless, like it can be very uncertain as well, you know. But how I would help you to say this: if you have a true field of interest, a very true, genuine field of interest, which it can take a while to also discover that, and it's okay. But if you read well and well and well enough, if you take heed to what your leader or anyone that is above you, the corrections, the words that they give to you, if you take them very seriously to heart, I don't think it will take you a while to discover what you want to dabble into. You understand? Because these are instructions that are given to you. You take action into them. Let me also say this thing: any business or any company that you see that diversifies, they have firm knowledge of what they're doing so well enough that they see the need for a diversification. So, which means that if you and I say we want to start selling chocolates and we read well about selling chocolates, we decide to do it in a very different manner from just the traditional. Oh, I'm selling provisional. I'm selling sweets and chocolates. If we treat it from a very different perspective and take it so seriously that our life depends on it, trust me, it becomes super easy. Super, super, super easy. So the first thing first that you should look out for is, yes, I want to do this stuff. This thing catches and it piques my interest. But the first area that I want to emphasize upon is, look for what piques your interest, do the research necessary, do all of the study as due, and it will become much easier over time. And like I said, you're young, it is okay. You're going to make mistakes, you're going to do a lot of things. The fact that you accepted that you're wrong, have you seen a child before walking? The child walks a number of times, falling, and you know what they do immediately? The moment they fall, they're back up, they're walking again. So, which means that they feel too well enough that they don't need to be reoriented on how to walk. They missed it so well enough that they know how best not to miss it again. So, because you're young, always put yourself in that childly manner. You understand? Not to act foolishly or unreasonably, but to accept the fact that, yeah, I can make the mistakes, but I'll be intentional again to make the right steps. So, pick a field of interest, dig in, get as much. Look at children, they are very curious. If you take a child to a wardrobe, the child is going to pull out all the clothes there in the quest to search for something. And when they see whatever they're looking for, they are going to leave the place not minding to arrange it. They know someone is going to fix that for you. You understand? And God, in His gracious mercy, has shed His grace upon us. He has shed His love upon us as well. You understand? So let's go out in that knowledge, in that quest, and be there to do it rightly. Okay? Pick a field of interest, get as much information that you want to get, and you'll be shocked at the outcome. But that knowledge, you have to be very strong on it. Very important. Thank you. I can't hear you. You're frozen for a bit.
I want to ask in regards to what he said. I think I wrote a book. Yeah, I wrote a book on that. That's Grow Like a Baby. So if you don't know the book, I would advise you get it. Right. So it took me time to study babies, right? And I realized within 1 to 3 years you can actually build success on something. Right? Within 1 to 3 years you can actually be successful, and you just need to apply 10 things. Personally, I'm putting them into practice, and I realized, come on, life on it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Yeah.
Let me
So
also
I
add to it.
have a
When I
question.
sorry, let me also add to it. When I saw the book, I
Yeah.
bought two copies.
Thank you.
So I think if you don't have a copy, then I think you're wrong. You should go get it.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Okay, yeah, so we have two questions here. Yeah. So someone asked, okay, how then, sir, can we get capital? How then, sir, can we get capital since we need capital for any business? I think that is likely 90% of why people can't start up a business, even if they have the idea. So what this guy is simply saying, what the person say he's saying, that's Dr. James Omorige, he's saying is um 90% of people are not, they have idea, but then they don't go into the business or carry out the idea because they lack capital. What do you say in regards to that?
Okay, I'm just going to answer that very quickly, and I think maybe a minute should be enough to answer that because there are a number of these questions, out there on the internet. See, we run a shipping company, right? And if you look at the requirements, you know, capital wise, to start a shipping company, I don't think 100 million naira is enough as a capital to start a shipping company. But this is a company that I started. I can tell you for free with 0 naira. But I'm not going to tell you that I started without capital. The capital that I started with, the simplest night of studying, the simplest night of making the calls, the simplest night of asking questions. Because this knowledge that I gathered in those years, wherein proceeds or profits was not the thing, are capital to me. Money cannot buy those experiences. I'm telling you, they are inquantable for money, to just buy. I can charge it $1 billion and I'll still not feel satisfied by the amount, after I'm being paid $1 billion for that. Do you understand? So capital is just money. If you don't even have the right knowledge, you're going to waste that capital in the short time. You're going to lose that capital in a very short time. You're going to spend the money in the very wrong places. I'm telling you. So I don't think capital in the sense of cash is all that you need. Yes, cash is very paramount for any business to scale. But the most important thing for any business to thrive is first knowledge. Because when we have the knowledge well enough, there is an exchange that will come to that value of knowledge that we have, and that is called money. And when we have that money, we can then direct it to the right places and put out the right actions. So that's how I'll define this to you.
Okay, okay, nice. I think let me just try to chip into that. So in the place of capital, right? I believe if your idea is also solid enough, right? In the place of getting knowledge and trying to execute, you could find, like he said, right? Like he said, I've done that in business too. Like he said, you know, starting the shipping company. Right? I told you for 3 years. I particularly told him at one point and say, guy, just get a job on this thing, right? Like just get something doing, right? Because I could see him sometime engage cold calls. Me, I don't do cold calls with people. I don't, because it's very stressful, right? Meeting random people, sending cold mails is very stressful. So I rather do just, you should be the one seeking for me. So I do the publicity stuff and all like that. But it works, but then it's stressful. But I see him those years, that's what it does. Like a lot of them conversations going on and no profit coming in. But one thing I realized that he did was there was a business he had aside. He started the laundry business, that's the clothes washing business, and was also using part of the money at least to also resource for, you get. So if you are talking about, so you have an idea, you need capital, you can also start up something. You can also do something by the side that that can easily bring money, right? And you can easily, one thing is this, and aside that, for my own line of business now, if truly your idea is valid, you should be able to quickly make money. We are like into tech service stuff, right? Tech service stuff. If truly you actually have an idea and all like that, okay, sell something, sell it to a point where, sell it at an amount that you can make some money. Then now that money, push it back into the business. So that's on that part. So let me okay, OG is great. As a question, okay, how do you decide whether to put all your profits back into growing the business or keep aside as an emergency fund for the company? How do you decide whether to put all your profit
OG
back into
funds.
than
OG, great. That's a very good question there, and I think that a bit advanced, but I'm going to answer it in the advanced form. For you to know the need, for you to be in a business where you already know that there's emergency fund required in your line of business, then you already have the answer. A certain portion should already have been calculated from any margin that comes in for the business. So let's say, for instance, now you're doing a trade that is about 700,000 naira, and you already have a margin of 650,000 naira. If the margin, that you will apportion is about 10%, you already know 65,000 naira will go into emergencies, correct? And if 65,000 naira is required for emergencies, you know the rest that can be, funded back into the business. So without much ado, you should know the business better than anybody will come and tell you. You understand it? So you decide, draft out, portion it out. Oh, there's going to be emergency funds. There's going to be reinvestment fund. And mind you, you as the business leader, you will not go broke now. You will not go hungry because the moment when you reinvest everything and put it back into the company, you know what? Sooner or later, you'll be going back, crawling back into the company's account, stealing from the company, and in the name of justifying that you never chop, that's why you're going back into the company's account. You understand? So that's just the real truth. So come out, draft it. If you want to pay yourself dividend quarterly, draft it. If you want to pay yourself dividend annually, draft it out. But since you already know your business needs an emergency fund, take out the portion, a percentage, 15, 20, 30, put it out there and do the same thing too for the reinvestment. The investment also can be a huge scale depending on the kind of risk that you can take. Like us, we do a very huge chunk. We do over 60% reinvestment of every our proceeds. So that's a lot of chunk. Not everybody can take that risk. You understand? So if you're doing over 60% payback, so let's say we make 10 million naira in a month, it means that we're pumping back over 6 million naira. Do you understand? So, and what that does for us is we don't look at it as what we're pumping back, but however, we look at it in the context of the compound interest. And just over a short period of time, those little money that we have pumped back in huge chunk, you know, you can't just quantify. So draft out, portion it out, a certain percentage for your emergency, portion for reinvestment, and a portion for what would take care of you and yourself. And that 95 that maybe at some point you have laughed at, ridiculed, you see that eventually the only way to thrive in that same business will be that you as a person will start paying yourself salaries. You will have to put yourself on salaries because any amount that you have taken out, I don't expect you to make 2 million naira and the next thing is you want to go blow up the whole 2 million naira. I don't expect you to make 5 million naira and the next thing you are thinking is, oh, the whole 5 million naira is mine. Even if you have even pumped back 10% or 20% as emergency fund and you have pumped back 60% as a reinvestment, the money left is still expected to be over a spread. That way, as a business person, you are learning discipline and you are paying yourself as due. So if you pay yourself, if you know how to pay yourself well enough, then you know how not to joke when it's time to be consistent with salaries as well. So that's the context to which I'll put that. I think just one more question and that'll be all for now. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Yeah, so someone asked, that's confidence. Confidence asked, please, sir, how do I build a business that can run profitably without depending on me on every decision while still maintaining quality, customer trust, and growth? Do you get that? Please, sir, how do I build a
Yeah, I
business
did.
that can run profitably without depending on me
Okay, so
for every decision? Yeah.
So I think one of the books that helped me in decision making would be Making It Big by Femi Otedola. Michael Otedola did a lot of emphasis in that book. So I'll to give that to you as a good recommendation. Go read it, finish it up. Make sure you finish it up. And there's just a stage or a scale to which the business is going to go to. Then it will require you not being in the business. But if you are doing the business not as a side hustle and you're truly doing it for the sake of you have a vision, you have where you're headed, I don't think there's ever going to be a time that you are going to you are going to be completely, not necessary in the business. Yes, there may be a point where you want to build a business to a point wherein you can travel, go for vacation, like they say all those bullshit on the internet, and say for the next 2 years you're not available in the business. Trust me, there is no how. Your say will be required because you know where you want to take the company to. So it's going to get to a stage, it's going to build. There's going to be a time you're going to have board of trustees, board of directors, board of executives. So until that time, what you should be focused on now is your business is still very young, still very small. Put in all that you have. When I mean putting all that you have, I mean yourself, your availability. Even if you are still working in a 9 to 5 and you're trying to grow and scale the business, learn how to, train the people well enough that they can think just like you would think. They can give response just like you would give response. So whether you're there or not, they know how to give quick and prompt responses to those matters. But however, there's still a need to table them to you, because there's a point the company is going to grow on. Even you as the leader of the business, you'll be facing a lot of enmities, such that you have your team members walk up to you and tell you, oh, this company, we built it. Oh, this company, we did that. So if you start this early enough, now you're already excluding yourself from the activities of the business as per CEO. You'll be shocked to sooner or later you won't be eligible to be called the CEO anymore. So I think the Femi Otedola book, Making It Big, is a good recommendation. Go read it. It will teach you a bit about how that he did it differently from how he used to be from Xenon to Fort Oil, that he later sold his shares for $200 million. So I think that would be a good one for you to do. Okay, can you hear me? You're froze a bit. Hello. I can't hear you if you can hear me.